Hi guys, and welcome back. In this video we're going to be making this small router table for my 18-volt Makita router. Hope you enjoy. Okay, so the reason for me wanting to make this is basically I've got a job coming up where I need to put a load of roundovers, a load of chamfers and bits and pieces on, and whereas I could just run this router around, I think it'd be a lot easier if I've got a little router table and then I can just take the pieces to the little router table. I'm going to do it so it connects into my little vise, which I've got on my bench here. So yeah, it's going to be nothing fancy, no frills really, just a nice little router table. I've got this bit of perspex that I'm going to make a little insert plate, so we're going to actually attach the router into that, so we can just drop the router in and out from the top. So I'm going to start with the insert plate and then we're going to jump over and actually make the router table itself.
So you're going to see a pattern form on a lot of this build, and it's kind of make it up as you go along. I checked that everything's nice and square and that, but it is pretty much just whatever looks right by eye. Cutting this, I cut this with the track saw and I thought it was going to cut a lot cleaner than it did, but it just kind of seemed to melt its way through, which I was surprised about because that's a fairly new blade in that. Okay, so it's now time to take the original base plate off of the router. We're going to use that as a template, but yeah, I was having trouble with one of these screws, just couldn't get it out with the drill. It's quite chewed up, so I'm going to need to replace that. Yeah, just marking for centre on this, where this is where the actual cutter is going to come out, and then yeah, like I said, I can use the old base, which I'm doing here, as a template for the new one. Okay, so now I've got them holes nicely drilled out. It's just time to do a little bit of countersinking just to make sure that them bolts sit nice and flush. And then we can drill this hole out. Now I did actually go back in after this and route the hole out a lot cleaner, but it was handy just to have that hole in there to start with.
Okay, so now we've got our insert plate made and fixed to our router. Well, not completely made. I am going to be rounding the corners off on this, but I want to actually make the base and then route the top out and all the rest of it before I do that. So we're going to turn our attention to getting all the pieces cut up for the router table itself, and then get that all put together.
Okay, so yeah, like I just said, we're going to be cutting up all the pieces for the router table itself. Now I've got this old bit of ply. It actually come out the bargain bin at B&Q. It was only £2. So I mean, where can you get a router table for £2 from? Yeah, we're just taking our time, making sure that everything's nice and square as we go along. That's the most important thing with stuff like this. Just make sure everything's square, and then you can't go far wrong. Okay, so here you'll see me marking out the centre on them boards. I want to do a half round in there just to make it easier to get your hands in and out, and you know, if you need to adjust anything or turn the router on and off itself and that. So yeah, I've just got this rather old hole saw actually. It was struggling to get through there a little bit, but it was the only one that I had that was the appropriate size. So yeah, just doing like a half moon in there, just like I said, to just make it easier to get your hands in and out. And then here you see me just putting a 45 on everything. Like I said, it's going to be to put your hands in and out, so I just wanted to take all of them sharp edges off, make sure there's no splinters in there. Yeah, just make it nicer. And then yet again, this is the top piece, so we're just going to put a little 45 on there just to make it a bit more comfortable. Okay, so this hole here is just simply a clearance hole so I can get the router base through to draw around the new faceplate. As you can see me doing here. So yeah, I was quite careful with making sure this was all lined up. I don't think it was that necessary, but we might as well do it at this stage. So yeah, simply draw around the new faceplate or insert plate, whatever you want to call it, and then I just used a bit of 1/2" ply that you can see me doing here just to create a lip for that base to sit on. And then we're going to freehand route it out. So I actually do quite a lot of freehand routing, like a lot of the time, and I didn't realise how handy this base would be for just freehand routing like that. I'm actually considering making another one of these plates, but a bit more of a refined shape for doing freehand routing like this. So if you want to see me make a video on that as well, let me know in the comments. Okay, so I know I said earlier on in the video that I was going to round over the insert plate, but I decided it was just easier just to chisel out this little bit on the tabletop itself, rather than going to the trouble of rounding over the insert plate.
Okay, so there's all our components ready. Off camera I did cut the bits for the fence, but I'll show you in a bit more detail how that's going to work. But it's basically going to be like that, but when I come to show you how to go together, I'll talk to you a little bit more about that. So yeah, here's our main components. So I'm going to get these all put together, and then we'll turn our attention to the fence, and I can actually show you it in progress, hopefully. So but yeah, it come out all right for a bit of cheap old ply. I mean, it's rough and ready, but it's a workshop product, so it doesn't really matter too much. So yeah, we're going to get this put together, and then we'll have a little look at the fence.
So I actually had to cut the top down. I didn't realise when I put it in, that front rail that you can see there actually interfered with where the router dropped through, where the insert plate dropped through. So yeah, I cut it down a little bit more. Like I said, not a lot of planning went into this. It was just kind of made up on the day. Okay, and now we're on to the fence itself. So what I want to do is make sure I've got plenty of clearance, so I've got a range of cutters that I can use with this. Nothing's going to interfere. So yeah, you can see the hole saw just to give it a nice round over at the top. And there we have it. We're on the little finishing stages now, putting the fence together. So yeah, like with the rest of it, nothing fancy here. Just some little finish pins, 16 gauge finish pins, just to hold it all together until that glue goes off. Put these couple of supports in just to keep everything nice and square. And there we have it, last few pins and we're done. This is the project completed.
And there we have it, guys. That's it done. Like I said, it's nothing fancy, but it's just going to help me with a few little jobs I've got coming up. Like I said, I've got to knock some 45s. I've got to make some shaker style doors, and I like to do the 45s and all that round it, and it's a lot easier just to bring the piece to a little router table. So you'll see this bit protruding down here, just in case you ain't worked out what that's for. That's to lock it in the vise. With the fence, for now I haven't got any style knobs or anything, so for now I'm just gonna clamp it off the sides here and here, but I will eventually get something to do that. But yeah, that's it, guys. I'm going to leave it there. If you want to see more of this sort of stuff, hit that subscribe button, ding that bell, you'll be up to date with all of my videos. I want to thank you for watching along, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.